Hey, welcome back to the Astrology of Things. I'm your host and certified astrologer, Sheena, and I am back with the Neptune through the Houses series. And today I wanted to focus on Neptune through the second house. So today is July 3rd, 2023, and it is 9:02 p.m. And so, since it's the night before the 4th of July, if you hear any fireworks in the background, that's what that noise is. All right, so as always, before I go into my personal interpretations on different placements, I do want to note that this is a general interpretation because astrology is so nuanced and unique to each individual person. So even if you do have Neptune in the second house, it's going to be very unique to you because we have to really understand what zodiac sign Neptune is placed in, which then impacts Neptune's weakness and strength in that zodiac sign. Then we have to consider the aspects that Neptune is placing to the different planets in the natal chart. And we also have to consider what transits are occurring to the Neptune in that second house, as well as we have to consider any progressed planets that interact with that second house Neptune. So there's a lot of factors involved in the natal chart. So again, this is a general interpretation. So before I get into it, I did want to note that I finally have these lovely bucket hats on my website at astrologystudios.com. So the one I'm wearing today is the Pisces Glyph bucket hat, but I have all of the 12 zodiac sign glyphs available in my shop. So if you want to check out the link below, it's a direct link to this hat in particular, but you can also find the other hats there. And I've included even a coupon code if you want to save a couple bucks on the hat. So I hope you like it. All right, now let's get into the interpretation. So what is the second house? So the second house represents our sustenance. So what we need to sustain our livelihood, our life force. So this represents our finances, our liquid assets. It represents the food and drink that we intake and digest. The second house also represents our voice, the sound of our voice, our speech, and also represents our natural inherent gifts and talents that we're born with. All right, so that's the second house. Generally, again, there's astrology is so deep. That's the general meaning of the second house. Now, Neptune, the planet of Neptune, what does Neptune represent in astrology? So in general, Neptune is the planet of illusions, imagery, fantasy, the planet of escape. It rules psychedelic drugs. It represents anything that can help us dissolve boundaries. So anywhere Neptune goes, it dissolves the boundaries between the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual dimensions. So Neptune is the planet that can kind of merge things together, even merging things that don't seem like they can be merged. Neptune will merge them. All right, so that's Neptune in general. All right, so since the second house represents finances, our income, our liquid assets, and possessions, Neptune here can create an energy where the native creates illusions around our finances. So this could create someone who puts on a facade around their money and their financial situation. So, for example, this could play out in a way where the native um, presents themselves in a way where, let's say, they present themselves as if they have, all this money, that they're very rich and financially well off, where in reality, they don't have the funds to kind of match what they're presenting. Or vice versa. Maybe this person has a lot of money and is so wealthy, but to the outside, how they present themselves, they kind of hide this about themselves. And they dress very modestly, they do modest things, they drive modest cars. So they kind of, hide the fact that they're wealthy. So Neptune here could do that. This could also create an energy where, this particular person makes an income through mysterious ways. So maybe this particular person makes money in not the most legal way, and maybe they, hide their assets, or maybe they hide the money that they make, and they don't report all of their income on their taxes, for example. And then this could also just create a lot of escapism about, someone's financial situation. So let's say they're not the native who has this placement. Let's say they're not happy about their financial situation. So they kind of escape the reality and kind of just fantasize. Maybe they fantasize about being rich one day and fantasize about being in a wonderful house and owning tons and tons of cars, when in reality, maybe they don't own a car. Maybe they don't live where they want to live. So that could also occur with Neptune in the second house. And also, it could create an energy where this person has a lot of possessions that are very like Neptunian and spiritual, or even artistic. So this person may own a lot of artwork and have a lot of paintings around their house, or maybe they own a lot of music. So maybe they have a lot of like records, like the old records that they, collect, or maybe they have a lot of CDs or from back in the day. Or even maybe they own a lot of videos and DVDs and VHS cassettes. So that could also play out with Neptune in the second house in terms of someone's, possessions. All right, so let's think of the second house from the food and drink perspective and how Neptune would impact that. So with Neptune here, this person can also like to eat a lot of liquid-based foods, or they may like to drink a lot of liquids. So maybe this person likes drinking milkshakes, smoothies, or maybe they eat a lot of fruits, because fruits have a lot of water within them. So maybe they like this type of food and prefer to eat this type of food, or maybe they even like eating seafood. Also, in terms of the voice and the speech, Neptune here could give someone the ability to easily manipulate their voice. So maybe they're a voice actor, or maybe they just like to mimic and impersonate other characters or celebrities or people. And also, Neptune here could create, or it could give somebody a voice that sounds very hypnotizing. So when people hear their voice, it kind of puts them in like a trance. Their voice places people in a state of hypnosis, or makes them feel like they're in some sort of trance, or their voice helps people escape their reality. So, and then also impacting the voice, Neptune could simply give an energy where this person tends to lose their voice a lot for one particular reason or another. So let's think of Neptune in the second house from the perspective of natural gifts and talents. So with Neptune here, this could give someone the natural abilities to sing, or they have natural abilities, natural artistic abilities. So they're naturally able to easily create illusions through whether that's, in their mind, and they're able to use another medium to kind of show what these illusions are that they have, right? Or maybe this person is just naturally gifted at, again, changing their voice, or maybe they're naturally gifted in photography or cinematography, right? So anything that surrounds the idea of creating some sort of fantasy and illusions for people. And when I say fantasies and illusions, they're not always bad, right? Illusions can be good, as we see in photography and art and cinematography. Illusions are really at the base of these various mediums. All right. Also, when we think of the second house, we can also see the second house through derived houses. Okay. So, for example, the native's second house is the 10th from the 5th house, right? So this could represent let's say this particular person has a child. So children are represented from the 5th house, right? And so if you count 10 houses from that 5th house, you get to the second house. And so the 10th house in astrology represents our how we're publicly known, how we're publicly recognized, and can also represent the type of vocation that you have. So the second house then would mean this is your children's public image, right? So let's say the children or your child is known for being in the movies, or known for being a director or producer in movies, or maybe they're known for being a spiritual guru, or maybe they're a YouTuber, for example. And so that's just a quick example of a derived house meaning with Neptune in the natal second house. I'm gonna finish out these last Neptune through the houses series. I think I have 7 left, so be sure to stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to the channel. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of 2024. And maybe I'll be surprised to get there sooner, but thanks in advance for subscribing, and I hope to see you back on the channel sometime soon.